HBO's The Last of Us, Episode 1. An attempt from the creator of the franchise, with the showrunner for Chernobyl and director of other projects nobody wants to talk about, to create the best adaptation from a video game ever made. Have they succeeded? Did they fail already? Is it too soon to say? They sure ran their mouths with the wildest quotes the weeks prior to the show's premiere, but the episode 1 is finally out. So, how was it? Because the show is a close adaptation to the game, to an extent it is inescapable to talk about it without those lens, while having those lens already. Also, I will not have any discretion spoiling a few negatives in the first half of the episode. I am going to need some explaining and showing for a few of them. That being said, I will keep the rest of the episode as vague as possible. Enjoy, and let's begin. In terms of the production values, it's HBO, and one of the most expensive shows ever made already. It looks fantastic, from the most subtle shot to the big, this cost a lot of money moments. Everything looks and sounds impressive. The post-apocalypse looks appropriately filthy and toxic, and it is very close to what it was depicted in the game. The casting is also interesting. Some of the actors look nothing like their counterparts, while others are so close it is uncanny. Most, if not all of them, do a fantastic job. Although I have a few criticisms, I still don't know how to feel about Bella Ramsey as Ellie. Her voice acting is great.
I'm not supposed to be here!
Her facial expressions are wooden, and I don't feel like it matches what the writing is trying to convey sometimes. And this could be very much possibly just a me thing. I think Pedro Pascal is in way too many things. When I'm just hearing him,
the more you shoot people, the harder it is to sleep, I guess.
Or at least not seeing his face, I can see him as the character he's supposed to be playing as. But any moment his face appears in camera, my brain just recognizes him as Pedro Pascal. Kinda like The Rock, with good acting. Maybe that's just me, it's whatever, he did good. Now, what about the story? In terms of the story, generally speaking, the intention of the show seems to be doing a retelling of the first game, while attempting to add, expand and elaborate in moments and elements from the first game, although changes are very much present. For example, certain rules in how the cordyceps infection used to work no longer apply. If that change is for the worse, it is too soon to say. Some of the changes and additions are welcome. Plenty of additions do a lot for the world building, fleshing out the quarantine zones, how it operates and giving an idea in how it is to live there. Some also add more to certain characters that used to not have had much focus in the source material, or just add more character moments for the ones who were already there. In fact, the characters and the world building are the strongest part in this episode. Most of the characters are very well defined, and have plenty of moments to show their traits and personalities, in a world that, so far, works like a clockwork, well realized and detailed in its functioning. Some of the changes do create some issues though. The first half of the episode has many scenes that could be either shortened or taken out completely without anything being lost. For example, the very first scene, set in a talk show in 1968, the host is interviewing two epidemiologists about pandemics, virus versus fungus, and to cut it short, this entire scene is just here to say fungus bad and spooky. It lasts 3 full minutes with characters we will not see again, and both the camera shot and the way this scene is presented, ending with everybody including the host and public, tense and quiet. It is just cheesy. Other scenes that could have been shortened to a few seconds are Sarah going to school, which adds no information aside for the fact that she goes to school, Sarah spending time at the old neighbor's house. The very little information given here is information that given in other scenes anyways, and Sarah going to a jewelry store to buy Joel's gift. The scene is fine up until a character appears acting cryptic, visibly distressed by something while doing everything in her power not to give any information as to what it is, closing the store and only telling Sarah to go home, while giving zero information as to what's going on. Go home for what? Go home for whom? Aside for that, there is also some Hollywood done spectacle and a video game far-fetched situation, a Plane crashed, causing a wheel to fly so hard and hit the character's truck hard enough to flip it and leave it in this condition, but not hard enough to even make a scratch. To the store it bounced off of first, then their truck gets hit by a police truck, placing it right in the entrance of an alleyway and separating Joel from Tommy in a pretty gamey way. This doesn't happen in the game, ironically enough, in what might be the lowest point in the entire episode, which is aggravated by the fact that the game did it better and that this show is supposed to be more grounded than this. Finally, there are some contrivances here and there that do not affect the show too negatively, if at all, but could be a sign for more and more damaging contrivances to come out in the future. Overall, regardless of my opinion that an adaptation of this franchise will be better following a different set of characters and a different story, instead of retelling one of the better known stories in video games, a story they boldly called the best one in gaming history, and also came out less than a decade ago. This is alright. It has a few stumbles, but it's alright. The characters have more moments to show off their personalities, and the world has been shown more meticulously thanks to the extra time given to the first moments of the game, which didn't delve much into it. In the game it comprised of 1 hour, or even less. Well, the first episode lasts 1 hour and 20 minutes. And bear in mind, I only showed the lowest points in the episode. The best moments in it still remain spoiler free. Game aside, by itself it is a zombie apocalypse, although a good one. Looks gorgeous, the acting is on point, pacing is off sometimes at the beginning, but it does get better, and the characters and world seem worth keeping an eye for. That being said, if you're tired of the zombie apocalypse genre, I cannot see how this will refresh you on it, at least so far. I'll give it a cautious 3 out of 4. Well, time to go back to my dungeon. Till the next video, peace.